Yes, welcome. Our second hour is about to begin. It's about, what, 3 minutes? 3 minutes after 7 o'clock. Let's kick things off with our digipreneur, Keron Rose. He joins me on the Zoom line. Keron, great to see you. I mean, it's the week after all the excitement of the carnival, and I'm glad we made it through in one piece, man.
Yes, man. Now the year can finally start. People are now starting to get serious about their business now that we've gotten past Christmas, New Year's, and Carnival.
That's right. And now it's time to put the brand out there, use social media as the platform, but there are still those who find themselves struggling. I beg to ask the question, how come? Keron.
Yeah, so I think this is a perfect time where, like I said, as we've gotten through, a lot of the festivities, businesses are now starting to get serious about their business. And a big part of doing business in today's day is the use of social media. And this is an area that we find a lot of businesses struggling. So I have about 5 or 6 reasons that we'll get through as to why they're struggling. Kicking off with the first one. There's no real plan when approaching social media. A lot of small business to medium-sized businesses they know they have to use social media, but when it comes to an actual plan, they're not leveraging social media or tying it to any real business strategy. Are we using social media to build ourselves as a thought leader? Are we using it to drive sales? Are we using it to drive leads? A lot of the times we're just kind of coming on social media with no real grand plan so that it can generate business for us.
So there needs to be, I would say, purpose. You need to kind of have that structure in advance, and then you approach the space.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, in the absence of plan, you're kind of just spinning top in mud, and you're starting to see businesses just trying to grasp onto trends. Anything that's happening in pop culture. We're jumping up, we're trying to latch ourselves on just to get awareness. But again, there's no real use of social media to a business goal or a business plan that's evident from what we are seeing.
What about trying to tell the story and capture the essence of your business, but put it in this really short timeline? Obviously, people's attention span, it's a bit short, but then you would have mentioned to me a couple of weeks ago that if it's something that holds your interest, if it's something that's right up your alley, you would stay as long as possible to see the review. But let's say you want to tell your story of your business or your product or your service in a minute. That in itself is a skill set. How do we come over that particular hurdle and find a way creatively to do just that?
Great question. So one of the big issues that we're seeing is people are coming on and they're not telling their stories. They're coming on just to hard sell. So we take pictures of our products. You'll take a quick video of the product and you're just dumping it on there. But people are not coming onto social media to buy. Even though you're there to sell, people are not coming on social media to buy. They're coming on social media to be entertained, to be educated, to be inspired, right? And to build connections. So if you're coming on social media as a business, you need to build that community. You need to start solving the problems that people have in your respective niche or your industry. So if you're coming on there and you're helping them to solve their problems but also achieve their desires, and then using your solutions or your products to help them get what they want, that's way better than you just coming on social media and just dropping pictures of your products or dropping pictures of your services with no real conversation or connection building or no real storytelling as to what your business is all about.
Interesting. Walk me through some other, little errors we make, because again, there are folks who are struggling with their social media marketing. I mean,
Absolutely.
They might have a great product, a great service, but for some reason they're not connecting with the audience. Let's try to solve that this morning. Walk me through it.
The next big one is inconsistent posting. So you have people that show up once a week, or they reach out to people and they ask the question of how many times should I be posting? And you'll hear this unanimous decision of 3, right? You should be posting at least 3 times a week. But that's no longer the case. People are on social media every day to kind of escape or to learn about the problems that they're facing in your industry. So the way I approach social media and what I tell all of my clients is, if you knew that every time you posted, you would either get a sale or get a lead, how many times would you post? And everybody says, well, I would post every single day. But that's the real answer. Your business needs to be showing up every single day, and learning how to show up is a big skill set, because it doesn't always need to be this big produced video or these produced images. Just learning how you can take behind the scenes content, using your phone, utilizing the story platforms so that you can build those connections and show people what goes on in the day-to-day of your business is a great way to build connection, but also to show up consistently so the algorithms start to work in your favor and not bury you because you're posting inconsistently.
Keron, I want to ask you a real question here. Is there any data, any empiricals to show a correlation between having influencers like the hot girl, well, them hot girl and man who chest greased down, you know, the people who are aesthetically pleasing, you know, the real pretty faces, hot body people, holding your product, selling your product, does that relate directly to sales?
Yeah, great question. And I think more businesses are realizing that they've worked with a lot of content creators slash influencers, and they're realizing that they're not getting sales. And that's typically because content today requires expertise. If somebody is in the market to buy a phone, I'm sorry, there's no hot gal or there's no hot boy that's going to now put this product in your face and you're just going to go and buy it. What people actually want is, okay, cool. The person might have been made aware by the hot girl or the hot boy about the product, but then they jump on YouTube to go and watch the experts in the space talk about those particular products to see if that product fixes the needs that they have. And that's really where the money is. The money is in the expertise of the content. So there's no influencer that is not aligned in your space that's going to be able to sell a product for you if they have no information about the product or no information about the space. Businesses are starting to realize that, hey, I've paid X amount of money for these influencers, but I'm not getting a return. And it's really because they don't really have influence. However, they have a platform so they can help people make you aware of the product itself, but not really influence you to buy the product or to pick up your service.
But I guess that in itself is still, I would imagine, a win, because if, you know, the awareness will now trigger the interest, and I guess you'll know, because I always do that. Any electronic, any major purchase, I will always go to the reviews. I'll look at the unboxing videos. I want to hear all the specs, and then I make my decision to purchase. So
so it gets to the point where, is it worth your money, right? Because a lot of the times they're not asking for small money. They're asking for a good chunk of money for awareness. But then your brand, the people that work in your organization are going to be the biggest influencers if you learn, how do we create content? How do we build a community? We can also build our influence. So if you do the things correctly within your organization, you would never have to go to any influencer outside of your organization, because you guys internally can become the influencers of your own product and be the thought leaders in your respective space. Again, is it worth the money that they're charging for just the awareness? For me, most likely, or more than likely, it's not. There are better ways to build awareness and to sell your products.
And again, another one I want to ask you in terms of data, is there any way to know if production value plays a part? Because I know there are those who will go through the proper lighting, get the right cameras to create their content, and then there are those who will do it in a very organic way, probably phone in hand, selfie. We saw Kanye West paying big money just to do an ad that was so basic, and it was still able to connect. What's the judgment there? How do we go about the production, the production value part of the creative process?
You know, that's a great question again, right? So today, in today's market now in the digital space, the biggest thing you need is just to have a good quality phone that can do good quality videos and good quality shots, right? At a bare minimum. Because a platform like TikTok has now made it popular to utilize your phone and create content on your phone that can build that connection, that can be relatable. And people are not looking for overly produced videos ever since the TikTok era began. Now, what I would say is if there's any piece of equipment that you should probably invest in, is probably two things. One, having good lighting, because again, if we're watching you on video, we need to see you, right? Even though that Kanye West video was terrible lighting, good lighting for your video is always going to be good. So either shooting outside in the daytime by a window or invest in some decent quality lights so that we can see you. And the second thing is invest in a microphone. Again, we can watch bad video, but we cannot watch a video if there's bad audio, right? So if you can invest in something that's going to give you good quality audio, that's good, and also lighting. Other than that, just having a good phone is good enough for you to create content and do well on social media today.
Excellent. What's another challenge that you've, again, through your journey, found that people always encounter, and probably you could give me a solution so we could step in the right direction when it comes to social media marketing for your business or service?
Absolutely. So I'll wrap up with this one. And this is a big one because this is what people stress over. And that is keeping up to date with social media, right? There are changes that are happening to multiple platforms every single week. What's working today might not work next week because there's a new change, there's a new feature. So not keeping up to date with what's happening on social media is a big one. You need to know about the feature sets. You need to know what type of content is working on TikTok, what type of content is working on LinkedIn. You need to keep abreast of these things because they're always changing. And when business owners, especially small business owners who are so busy doing what they have to do in their business, they don't have time to pay attention to everything happening in social media. However, that is usually the difference between doing well on social media and not growing a following, not getting the engagement you want. And if nobody is seeing the content, then the money that you are investing into social media becomes a wasted effort, right? So not paying attention to what is happening, I think all business owners need to also be pseudo digital marketers and keep up to date with what's going on so you could put forth the best content. And even if you have outsourced your marketing efforts to a freelancer or somebody else, you should know enough so that you do not get swindled by a lot of these external resources that you are utilizing for your business.
Yeah, important point. You need to monitor and stay on top of your own business via the social and make sure that you're monitoring and keep your eyes always on your prize. Any closing remarks, Keron, as we wrap things up for the latest Digipreneur?
Yeah, so again, social media is going to be is continuously a big part of your operations. If you want to build yourself up as a thought leader, if you're trying to generate leads, if you're trying to generate sales, you need to start understanding the best practices on social media. You need to get comfortable in front of the camera to create content. And if you do not get comfortable in front of the camera, you need to learn what are some of the other ways that I can create content that maybe allows me to be off camera that's still going to generate interest. And if you focus on learning how to become a resource for your audience, helping them solve the problems in your industry or helping them to achieve the desires, you are going to be good. And lastly, you don't need to jump on trends, right? Focus on being a resource, focus on being a business of value online, and that is all you need to do. You don't ever have to jump into trends. A lot of the trends that we are seeing people do online, you guys can leave those things alone because they only hurt your brands in the long run.
Great advice. As always, a pleasure. Have a safe one, and God spare we talk again next week, Tuesday, for another installment of the Digipreneur.
Take care. See you next week.
Keron Rose, TNT, touching base with us. Up next, conversations on cancer. The chairwoman of the TNT Cancer Society, Dr. LeBlanc. She joins me live on set as we touch on women's cancer screening. Another important conversation on cancer up next.